Hola everyone. Buenos dias. Welcome to Daily Invocation, Souls Check-in. We are live again from Brave Earth. Delighted to have our friend Salman joining today.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Invoking, bringing in, settling, coming home, wherever home may be. Some of us kind of wandering at the moment. Dubai and London and Costa Rica, wherever we may be. Salman is part of this month-long program I'm doing here, the Reworlding Residency. And yesterday we had a Temazcal, which is awesome, was awesome. Temazcal is an ancient, powerful medicine of, you might, some call it like a, more than a steam room, sweat lodge. If you've heard of a sweat lodge, Temazcal is the Central American name for it. And I'll ramble about it more in a minute, but I would love to hear your experience, and you can maybe convey that, and maybe today we can invoke a little bit of Temazcal action here.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Temazcal it's a little more than a sweat lodge because there are prayers involved. There's a facilitator that needs to know how to guide the space, and we were lucky enough to have a family that has been doing this for a long time. It was a beautiful experience, but I don't want to just say beautiful. It was challenging. It was overwhelming. It was really difficult at times, and I reached a very vulnerable state. So I do want to say that it is an amazing experience, but be ready, because I've always tend to push my body to the limits, and I enjoy that. And there's a joy in seeing yourself go beyond your limit and realizing that you can be comfortable even in that space. But even with that, I reached that limit because with the Temazcal, your mind is playing the tricks, and you are naturally being in a steam room setting with so many people, singing together. We shared vibrations. We let out sounds that we needed to let go of, and soon after, I could totally feel my body start to settle into the space. At one point, my neck completely cramped up. You are getting dehydrated, so you really want to make sure you're hydrated if you do this. You want to hydrate the whole 24 hours before, because you shouldn't be drinking before, and you should be kind of on an empty stomach. And you don't want to be, once you drink, you kind of break that practice. So we made a promise to kind of stick together, all squished up in this hut.
But 20 of us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we sang songs together, and they would bring these hot, cold rocks that had been sitting for a long time. And once they bring, we all sang a welcoming prayer for the rocks. They come in and they have this specific root oil that they extract, that they rub and set an intention on the rock. So there is a lot of energetic movement that happens in that space. And once you kind of settle in, you realize that as time goes by, you want to you sink slower and slower down to the floor, and you just feel your body curling up and getting to that vulnerable state. I remember reaching a point where I looked to my left and looked to my right and realized that I'm happy that I'm with these people because I'm sharing this really deep, vulnerable part of myself with them. And then once the body gets to that point, the mind starts playing and emotions start coming up. It wasn't just a physical practice. Deep-rooted emotions that I realized that, you reach, like I said, you reach a limit, and deep emotions were settling in as if I was about to leave this earth. What would I have to do if I was leaving? What are the things what are the stones that I've left unturned? And I got immense clarity on what those things are. And then once it was over, you realize you're alive. It wasn't so bad. And there's an immense renewed energy and appreciation for life but also for the practice of sitting in together and just honing in, putting ourselves to our limits and staying next to each other. I think the most beautiful experience that I heard about the Temazcal is that people used to have them all over in every single hut, and whenever any family members had any issues, they would go in, lock themselves in, and just be there until they resolve the conflict. I think there's real beauty in putting yourself through that. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So to sum up some things I heard you say, which were really beautiful, was the togetherness. I mean, literally being in there in bathing suit and sarong, sweating away in community, in this enclosed space. Like there's a lot of camaraderie happening together right at the time when the guys next to you were literally holding you. Yeah. So there's that, which is really powerful towards transformation. It's tight, and the heat, it's really one part of Temazcal in the cosmology I've heard. I've been to about a half dozen myself. Like any other medicine, and it was great how the facilitators yesterday were talking about it as medicine. The skillfulness of the facilitators is very important, and they did great yesterday. And one thing I've heard over and over from the sweat lodges and Temazcals is how womb-like it is. Mm-hmm. So the happy report I'll give too is the rebirthing. Yes, there's rebirthing breath work, and yes, there's womb healings and different things. So this is another medicine that way. But it's so great, this dark, hot, intense place that you literally crawl out of afterwards and take this big breath and have some water. So yeah, from this side, there was that camaraderie, there was the appreciation of facilitation, and then that opportunity for a rebirth. You know, going in, like a lot of the work we do at Souls Enterprise, have our intentions, release those, surrender to the experience, which is a big experience, and have a rebirth. So that's the Temazcal energy we're invoking today. Thank you for letting us share. Any last words, or you feel complete?
I feel complete.
Cool. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Much, much love. See you tomorrow.